Hey all, Siege here, and today, in the spirit of the Acolytes returning to Warframe, and woohoo, what a grind that is, I want to talk about something I'd really like to see in Warframe, and that's a new invasion. You know, something other than the Stalker, the Syndicates, and the Groosedrag 3. This small interaction was literally one of my favorite aspects of Warframe when I first began playing, but let's be honest. Once you've put a few hundred hours in, have a reliable loadout, and a powered-up Warframe, they become a bit trivial. I still remember seeing the lights in a map start to flicker, and immediately I would get pumped for what was coming. Sometimes I would win, and other times I would get put down, and that in itself made the whole thing extremely satisfying. However, as most of you that have played for a little while have probably figured out, at a certain point they're really more of an annoyance than anything else, only making the mission a bit longer than it needs to be, as, well, they don't really stand a chance against you. Now that the operators have custom weapons, augmented health, armor, shields, and damage, even Shadow Stalker, with his ability to nullify a lot of Warframe's abilities, is completely outclassed, and that's a shame, really, because as I mentioned, I used to love the challenge, with his dropped weapons being almost like a secondary reward, his defeat being the main prize, at least for me, that is. Now, don't get me wrong, getting his war sword to drop was a great moment, but I found that with all the other weapons that are currently in the game, the Dread Bow, the Despair throwing knives, and even the Hate Scythe, while rare, aren't necessarily groundbreaking anymore, and with that in mind, aren't really something a person has to grind for, unless they're just looking to complete their respective collections. And, hey dude. Hey brother, how are ya? Oh, I'm just taking a break from grinding this ugly-ass armor. Can I ask you a question? What is it with Bungie's love of asymmetrical armor anyhow? Seriously, what exactly does this stupid thing on my shoulder even do? Is this a vent? What the hell is that for? I don't know. Most of the armor I have looks the same on both sides. Now, a few of my other frames are like that, though. Then again, they're made from infested flesh, so the fact that any of them are symmetrical in the first place is probably a miracle to begin with. But look, I'm in the middle of a video. Can I call you back? Oh, yeah, sure, man, sure. What's the video about? Invasions. Invasions? Yeah, they are these random interactions we get that, well, used to up the ante on a mundane mission one might be on. Like, you'd go into an activity to level up a weapon or grind for a piece of gear, and out of nowhere, these enemies would show up and try to overwhelm you with a ton of ads at once or just one overpowered enemy. And I'm using that term loosely because, well, as I was just telling everyone else here, they aren't much of a challenge anymore. Really? Holy shit, that sounds awesome. Shame we don't have that in our world. Best we have, I guess, are high priority targets. They kind of just show up, have a boatload of health, and you just whittle them down until they give you a chest full of tokens or glimmer or something. I can't even remember, it's so irrelevant. Yeah, some of ours give exclusive gear, you know, while others offer some more inconsequential rewards. The problem is, they've kind of lost their mojo, if you will. Oh. Well, so what are you proposing? Well, I was just getting to that. So, I'd like to see something new in this area, and I've come up with a few ideas based on game lore that might spice up said interactions, present some new loot if in fact the devs at DE have some weapons, armor, or other offerings they're trying to find a way to add into the game, and maybe strike fear back into the hearts of unsuspecting tenno, mindlessly grinding for something else in the game. The other perk of this could be that some different stories could be progressed just a little bit further for those lore nuts like myself who are still wondering about certain facets of the game that are kind of out in limbo. And I don't mean the Warframe, mind you. I'm talking about in Warframe's story. The first one, and most exciting, at least to me, would be Hun Hao. Now, it's pretty obvious that Hun Hao has a real issue with going away, as we've defeated him countless times, and he still seems to find his way back to confront us. Not usually in person, mind you, but with a cadre of his minions. The way I envision this is simple. Hun Hao would spawn in with a little dialogue, maybe even using the animation from the second dream. I don't know. He would threaten to put us down like he, likes to do, and a number of sentients would spawn into the room. As most of us know, the sentients can still pose a bit of a problem for even the most seasoned Warframe player, so the interaction would be fairly engaging and might take a few runs to get a better idea of how to defeat them, especially those that haven't umbrified their Warframe yet. I'm quite certain there are some sentient weapons on the way too, so aside from dropping a number of mods already and even the components for the broken war sword, there could be some even better reasons to want to have old Hanhao give you a visit, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Shit, I want that! Like, I can see it now. Nokris is like this necromancer who can reanimate things in our world, right? So, like, why not have him pop up periodically and just rain hell down on us and maybe make it into an exotic quest for a gun like the Touch of Malice or the Whisper of the Worm, you know?
Oh, yeah. That would be cool, huh? And a little different for you Guardians, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be. But sorry for interrupting. Please go on.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, the second suggestion would be for... Get ready for it. The man in the wall. That's right. We have this character that's just been hanging around our orbiter, and one has to wonder, what's the point of all of it? He or she, depending on your operator, of course, always seems somewhat standoffish, and given our initial encounter where Rel or whatever was influencing Rel went after us with reckless, horrifying abandon, I've always found it interesting that it never has any interaction other than the brief meetings we have on our ship. Dialogue during the invasion could even give us some more clues as to what it actually is, stoking the proverbial theory fire for us lorehounds in the community. Honestly, I would keep the encounter much like it was during the Chains of Harrow, maybe occurring only once a mission objective has been completed. You couldn't kill him then, and you won't be able to kill him now, but the meeting itself would be exciting and terrifying at the same time, and maybe if you survive without dying, he could show up on your ship with a gift, or maybe even some additional dialogue. Anything to help flesh this character out a little more, as really, up to this point, there's so little information that any theories we currently have on who or what he is are purely speculation, and I'd like to be able to start to figure out a little more about an entity that apparently is always hiding on our ship. I mean, think about it. If you had a ghost in your house, wouldn't it be like priority one to figure that shit out? I know it would for me.
Preach on, brother. That thing is fucked up. I know I couldn't sleep knowing it was under the bed or something. Ooh, it gives me the willies just thinking about it.
Yeah. So, finally, the last suggestion I would have would be Simodius. You know, the purple cephalon in charge of determining our Riven mods?
No, I don't know him, no.
What? Well, he's the cephalon that is said to be responsible for the entire mod system as we know it, having created them himself, and well, he doesn't really like us, mostly because he looks down on us for using what he feels are works of art to augment our weapons and warframes. If that is in fact the case, would it be such a stretch to think that he could assemble a group of enemies to punish us for our lack of vision? Cephalon Suda already does this with her syndicate, so it's definitely not out of the question as far as plausibility is concerned. The prize for survival? How about a small chance at a Riven transmuter, or even a smaller chance at a Riven mod itself? To me, this seems like a no-brainer, and as I stated, would be right in line with the lore of the game. And maybe we could get more of an explanation of who he is, like what was promised a while back, you know? It might just be me, but I personally don't want to see a beefier version of Stalker, because we've done that already, and well, I'd rather get some more story on him and what he is, say in a quest, versus just giving him more abilities or a stronger frame. There's so many loose ends to some really interesting characters in the game that I feel like just adding a little bit of dialogue to these encounters, a few extra morsels of information, would go a long way towards making the game even more engaging than it already is. Maybe these interactions only come after the player finishes the sacrifice quest, justifying a harder or more challenging interaction, but boy, would this add some fun to the game. And it really wouldn't require a lot of work from the devs, right? I mean, the stuff's already baked into the game. All that would really need done is just a few reskins, some additional dialogue, and there you go. 3 new random encounters with interesting rewards and some heart-pumping gameplay. I know that would get me really excited. How about you?
Yeah, man. I'm just soaking all this in. We need to find a portal or something, because someday I want to join you on a mission or two.
My nipples are hard as rocks over here just thinking about it. What? Okay. So, at any rate, I hope you all enjoyed the video today, and I'd be curious to hear who you could see as a possible new invasion. I bet there's a ton of cool ideas out there, so feel free to share in the comments. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll talk at you in the next one. Bye.